Wow. Wow. Man. And Monk absolutely gave it to, or wasn't Monk, it was De'Aaron Fox, man. He absolutely gave it to Lonzo Ball in the previous game this past weekend. We'll talk more about that in a second. He had a 3, and Monk added another 3. They had 3 3-pointers, I think within 8 or 9 seconds. May finished with a career-high 17 points off the bench for North Carolina. Justin Jackson scored 19 points, and Joel Berry II added 11 on a sprained ankle. Kentucky led for less than 4 minutes in the game. North Carolina had a big edge off the boards and inside, with the Tar Heels outscored the Wildcats 34-26. Fox and Monk combined for 71 points in December in a win over North Carolina, led by Monk's 47. This time they combined for just 25. Up next, once again, for the Carolina Tar Heels, they take on the Oregon Ducks. We'll talk about that game here in a second. Oh, man, this is exhilarating. Exhilarating. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougshow.com. From J.B. Jennings. Even Stevie Wonder could see that Florida didn't have a low-post presence, so the game plan should have been simple: feed the big man, and it's a wrap. I'm going to tell you, man, it's probably not that simple. South Carolina, man, they adjusted. One thing I will say, though, is South Carolina played better defensively in the game before this game this past weekend against Florida. They weren't on it like they were the game prior to that. From Derek, he says, nobody cares what a role player has to say about rest. Nationally, it won't matter until inactive in their prime star player complains about resting stars. He's talking about the comments made by a prominent NBA player about rest. From Rail Scott, can we get Joel Berry II some new high-top sneakers? He turns his ankle every time. Get that man some Jordans. From J.B. Jennings Sluggo, that was a great hire. Mike White was wanted by many prior to Florida, making him Donovan's successor. From 334 Bama Boy, when the white dude from Kentucky made 2 shots, put them up by 7, then got happy and thought he was a jump shooter, I said when he missed the one from the side, he just lost the game. UNC went on a 12-0 run after that. Very good point. Very critical time in that game. Yeah. From D, in my opinion, these are one of the weakest Carolina teams in years, but they keep winning because, as all of the commentators keep saying, they're just bigger than their opponents. Yeah, when you talk about Meeks, and you talk about, what's the dude named, the other dude, Ricks, I believe, down in the middle for Carolina, they just got too much size. And the thing about it is Meeks got real experience. You know, we talked about it. I think we already mentioned it. But last year, man, Carolina really came, inches away, seconds away from winning a national championship, if not for some miracles. So they brought those guys back, man, and Jackson doing his damn thing, man. Carolina, they got the best talent left in the tournament. Kansas out. Here's another thing about it, man, why I feel like, North Carolina's favored, but why South Carolina's got a chance. Think about it, man. Duke is out. Kentucky is out. Who else is out? Kansas is out. Some of the teams, man, that you knew were going to be at this position in this tournament before the tournament started are gone. Some of the legendary programs are out. So, North Carolina, I think, is the favorite right now. But, North Carolina's kind of been up and down this year. They've kind of been up and down this year, man. And so I think Carolina's got a shot, man. J.B. Jennings Sluggo, yep. Mike White came from Louisiana Tech. He was an under-the-radar hire. From J.B. Jennings in the chat room on Spreaker.com. Nothing that South Carolina did. They just weren't hitting the shots. Be real, folk. But that's because they weren't hitting the shots because they were playing great defense. Give them boys credit now. Don't be like that. Don't be like that now. Don't act like that. If you're not gonna say nothing nice at all, don't say nothing at all. All right, don't be like that. The reason why they didn't make shots, The reason why Florida didn't make shots is because of the defensive intensity applied by the Gamecocks. All right? Once again, if you're a half a second late in taking a shot, or you have to take a shot a half a second earlier because you know that stifling defense is coming, that's going to change your whole mentality. That's going to change your setup. I mean, get them boys credit now. Don't act like that. Don't act like that, J.B. Jennings. You're better than that, sir. Come on, man. From Clay Ceiling is to Roof Davis, that was frustrating to watch for Florida. If you're not making your threes, take it to the hole. Right, they didn't do that. They kept trying to shoot threes, and they kept missing, okay? And maybe they couldn't go in the hole. Maybe they couldn't take it to the basket because they knew the defense was too good down there. I don't know. From B. Jones, man, I just moved here 2 weeks ago, and these damn Gators have been taking or talking-ish nonstop. From Andre Elam in the chat room on Spreaker.com. T-Dub, this girl named Kennedy Simone Westlake, yeah, I know about her, ran a 23.78 200-meter and a 52.78 400-meter. 19 and 2. She might be a future Olympian. Oh, yeah, they've been talking about her a lot. Yeah. Once again, my baby girl didn't have a track meet this weekend, man, so we chilled. I was so happy. From Big L X Squad, oh, damn. Doug, a USC fan. Really? Yeah, I always root for the South Carolina teams, period. Yeah. Maybe you've never heard this before, Big L. Maybe you never listened to the Stews back in the day, or you're new to this show or whatever. You're not new to this show. I think I've mentioned this. I've talked about this. Definitely when Clemson made their run for the national championship in football. I root for all of the South Carolina teams against anybody else, everybody else. Now, I don't have a particular favorite, which is strange. I never grew up, and it's strange with me in a lot of that. Like, I've never had an NFL team that I quote-unquote rooted for when I was growing up. Never. And I never had a particular team, I guess if you're talking about the big boys of South Carolina, I never said that I'm more of a fan of Clemson than I am Carolina. I guess if Clemson and Carolina play in football, I guess I would go with Carolina, but it's not really that big of a deal to me. I'm not like some of these rabid fans in South Carolina that live and die, with Clemson and Carolina being that rivalry game, kind of like Alabama and Auburn or Michigan and Ohio State. Like, I guess I'd go with Carolina over Clemson because I've been to, 25, 30 South Carolina games or tailgated with South Carolina people just because of the proximity of where it is to my hometown. Like, going to Clemson to me is like going to Alaska. Yeah. Going to Clemson is like going to Alaska. Like, it's so far, probably like 5 hours, maybe 4.5 hours. So I root for the South Carolina teams. If Carolina and Clemson play each other, I'm probably rooting for Carolina, but it's not rooting in the truest sense of the word. Like, I've never in my life, let me stop and think about this for a second. I'm about to make an incredible statement here. Like, I've never in my life owned a South Carolina Gamecock or a Clemson Tiger hat, shirt, anything like that. I'm a South Carolina State Bulldog, first and foremost. Right. I'm a South Carolina State Bulldog, first and foremost. But I always root for the state teams. If a state team wins a national championship, man, I mean, it can't be anything but a good thing. It can't be anything but good for business. Bringing pride to the state as far as sports or whatever. Happy as hell when Coastal Carolina won the baseball championship last year. Right now, they're the reigning college baseball champion. Obviously, very proud of Clemson and doing what they had to do and handling their business against Alabama, winning the national championship. And if it happens, right now it probably won't happen, but if it happens, man, I'll be just as proud of the South Carolina Gamecocks winning the national championship. Yes, sir. From JB Jennings in the chat room on Spreaker.com, South Carolina ain't winning shit. They better be happy with that Final Four banner in the rafters. I disagree with you, sir. I disagree with you, sir. It's not going to be that easy. Once again, the reason they made it here is because they made it here. Is because they beat a lot of great teams to get to the Final Four, because they play stifling defense. They're here. Go ahead and keep disrespecting. And, I mean, that's fine. I mean, for a team that's never made it to the Final Four and not made it or won a playoff game since 1978, a tournament game since 1978, I get it. I understand the doubt. I get it. From B. Jones, Gregor, it's nice out there. ESPN Wide World of Sports, man, is something to see. From Sluggo X Squad, he says Final Four is a win-win for big schools. Making it to the Sweet 16 is what mid-majors aim for. Everything else is gravy. Yeah, I talked about it, man. It's almost talked about. In college basketball, making it to the Final Four is almost like you won a championship. Like the goal is to get to the Final Four. You hear a lot of teams, a lot of coaches, and they'll talk about, they don't want to kind of like try to predict how far they're going to go. But like a goal of a lot of college basketball teams, programs, coaches, is to make it to the Final Four. The Gamecocks have done that, man. And anything after the Final Four is almost like gravy because these teams are so good. All right? And the separation between one team and another is so minuscule. I guess making it to the Final Four, man, is a phenomenal thing at the end of the day. Yeah. Hey, there were a couple more games this weekend in college basketball. Just like that, we're at the end of the first hour of the Doug Stewart Show. Coming up next, hour number 2, more college basketball talk, more Final Four talk. We'll get to some NBA. We'll get to a little bit of NFL as well. A lot to get into today on the Doug Stewart Show. Once again, the greatest sports and guy talk podcast in the world. And I mean it. All right, back in 3 minutes, the Doug Stewart Show.
Yo, Mills, let's get him again. Kings Nation. Spot rated. You know. Mills. Spot rated, y'all. Yeah, listen, boy, skills, y'all. Nah, I ain't skills, nah. I don't rep the beat. I ain't the cat that came out and made you want MC. I ain't the cat that did it alone, had no help. Carried the whole state on his back by himself. When P was the verb lord and Tim had a small frame. Before Missy came and got you wet in the rain. Was them raw metaphors that was picking your brain. It was a cat from Richmond sickening with a flow insane. Nah, I ain't him, he ain't me. They say we look alike, but they don't mean I want your CD. So it's best to back up, relax for acting tough. Get your facts up before your ass end up in the rapper. And you don't want to see that dude. He was screaming VA when screaming VA wasn't cool. Huh. Now let me stop, that's me. But you'll never open the state, Playboy, cause I still got the key.
I'm from the B to the SA, one of the few who get played. I stay in these streets, a cop, cook, and flip yay. Dog, you a slizzy, like Kunta and Kizzy. Who am I? Next time. Did you miss me? But on the up and up, they can't get enough for us. The home of Missy, D'Angelo, and Bubba Chuck. And you don't know what we capable of. Be at your crib with a mask, duct tape and some gloves. What? Down here, cash rules. Nothing but bad dudes from Richmond to bad news. Make fast moves, dog. Stay alert here. Catch them up top, come down and drop work here. Home of the Brizzy, we live to get paid until I'm old and grizzly. This is where I stizzy. Born and raised from the cradle to the grave. And the V to the V to the Izzy.
Buckle your seatbelts, hold on tight. You know we had to do a remix, right? It's the best of both worlds, yeah, you know what we about. It's the bottom of the north and the top of the south. You dealing with some bosses, we ain't too fond of taking losses. You come around here,